Well, this week, Agriculture Minister David Littleproud announced the Future Farmer Guarantee, $75 million to assist farmers into ownership. And joining me live from Stanthorpe is the Agriculture Minister. David Littleproud, how are you today?
Yeah, good. Good to be in Stanthorpe at the Stanthorpe Show.
Excellent. Well, tell us about the scheme and who benefits from it.
Yeah, this is about trying to get young people into agriculture. One of the biggest impediments is the capital cost. What we're trying to do is give those young people, whether that be through succession or they're already in agriculture and want to purchase their first property, or even someone that's a little bit more mature that's actually leasing some country at the moment, giving them the leg up they need. They've got some of the deposit but haven't got all of it. So we're looking to do up to 40% of the deposit of the loan, as well as capping that at $1 million and making sure that stays at around 75% of the LVR. So this is just about giving a guarantee. It's not a grant, and we're saying that we'll work with the commercial banks to streamline this. You don't have to come to the government. You can simply go to your commercial bank, apply for this guarantee up to $1 million. It'll also support you to be able to get into your first property. It has to be serviceable. This is the thing: this isn't just we're throwing money at anybody. You have to be able to prove to a commercial bank that you can service this facility. But this is a way to try and get young people into agriculture and into their first property.
Minister, about 4 weeks away until the election. We'll talk about the debate you had with the Shadow Agriculture Minister shortly, but we just heard from Treasurer Josh Frydenberg the big issue on independence, and he made mention of talking about a vote for fake independence is a vote for the Labor Party, saying that they don't really have any policies. We're seeing the forums coming through, people asking many questions, so many undecided voters. Do you agree with what Treasurer Josh Frydenberg just said?
Yeah, look, being an independent or even a minor party from One Nation or Palmer United is all care and no responsibility. You can make up crazy ideas but never have to implement them, the practical reality of paying for them, and that's an easy thing to do. But I think the Australian public, really when they run the ruler down the list of policies and the costings that both parties have, but also independents, they'll look at that and they'll actually understand that it's really they're being sold a pup, and that these independents and minor parties are really just telling you what you want to hear. Now, you might get a warm fuzzy feeling for the first 5 minutes after voting for these people, but they won't achieve anything for you. And this is serious business. This is a serious business of running our country. And if you don't have a government that actually has a plan, it's called a budget, we're prepared to put it in black and white and show the Australian people how they're going to pay for what we're trying to deliver for them, then you have nothing. And so I just say to people, this goes to the very heart of Anthony Albanese's business model, because every seat he takes off us means that he's one seat closer to becoming Prime Minister, because he doesn't have to get to 76 like we do. He can rely on the crossbench that's there already. So Anthony Albanese doesn't have to win 7 seats. He actually only has to win 3 or 4, because every seat an independent takes off the coalition makes him one step closer to becoming the Prime Minister with this ragtag, chaos-filled crossbench that'll take this country nowhere.
The agriculture debate took place this week at the National Press Club with yourself and Shadow Minister Julie Collins. When asked about what policies Minister Collins has been personally working on, her response was, "I think farmers of regional Australia will be very pleased with Labor's policies." A lot of the journalists asking what those policies were, and it did appear that she kept saying that same sort of statement. What do you think the Labor policies are, and when do you think they could bring them forward?
Well, we're in the last quarter of the grand final. You would have thought that they're trying to convince not only Australian agriculture, but the Australian people that the stewardship of Australian agriculture is very important, because it actually goes to your cost of living. You're already seeing cost of living pressures go up in supermarkets, and if you don't have the right policy settings, and whether that be around the agricultural visa that they will not commit to, is Anthony Albanese going to walk in and tell the Vietnamese government, sorry, you signed up to this, but we're turning our back on you now? He won't give us an answer about live export. The only thing they are saying is they want to bring back water buybacks that tear water away from agriculture, and that actually drives up your price at the supermarket. So Anthony Albanese and Julie Collins, who really sadly has no interest in agriculture, and it showed when she stood up and her only answer was that they'll be announcing policies and she's been creating great policies but has nothing to offer. We came up with the first farmers guarantee. We've also come up with a gene bank to protect us from natural disasters and also biosecurity outbreaks, 2 new policy settings. They haven't got an idea and they're not interested. In fact, so much so that now the word is that Julie Collins will not be the next Australian Agriculture Minister under an Albanese government. It'll actually be Bill Shorten. And God help us if that's the case, because the AWU will then run Australian agriculture. And you just think about that every time you go to the checkout, you're going to pay a lot more. And that's the risk of an Albanese government. That's fair income. And the fact that she got on the national stage and could not articulate a policy, could not articulate a policy position, shows that they're not interested, they don't care, but you're going to pay, and you'll pay at the checkout. And that's a frightening thought if you're making a decision about who's going to govern this country.
Minister, we've got about 30 seconds before we have to wrap this up, but Australia did sign with Vietnam in March the first bilateral memorandum of understanding under the agriculture visa program. What's the latest with that?
So all that is required now is the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade will be signing contracts with our labour hire companies and approved employers to go into Vietnam, and they'll be working with Vietnam officials to identify those workers. So literally this is being drawn up now for the agreements to be, the deeds to be signed, and then that'll simply be about us getting these approved employers and labour hire companies into Vietnam to identify the workers and to bring them in. It's a demand-driven program, and we're chained to Vietnam. This is skilled, semi-skilled and unskilled workers, and they will have the protections that you would expect them to have here in Australia or anywhere else your citizens worked around the world.
Sounds very busy where you are in Stanthorpe. What's happening there today?
Stanthorpe show, last day of the Stanthorpe show, and I was at the Tambo show yesterday, so it's great to get to these agricultural shows who showcase so much of what we do, and sadly some of them haven't been able to run because of COVID, and the federal government's put over $100 million into supporting agricultural shows to keep them going, because there's over 50,000 volunteers that put their heart and soul into showcasing their communities, and so Stanthorpe's done another great job of putting on a great show here in Stanthorpe, the Food Bowl of Queensland right here in Stanthorpe.
Agriculture Minister David Littleproud, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.